Welcome everyone to another top 10. It's Old School Gamer 1971 here. Millie, Lloyd, everyone, hope you're all having a great day. Before we begin, if you enjoy this video, please like, comment and share. Check out my channel and subscribe. It helps the channel grow and put a big old smile on this old face. Today's top 10 is, if I was a developer, I would make these games. Okay, let me start off by admitting, this is an indulgence on my part, and whilst I admit I do think there is a market for these games and their kind, however, I don't see many of them ever being made. What the shame is, I think that at least for some of these they would positively make money. Some of the information was from interviews over the years, David Lynch especially, and some I just do not see them moving forward because of the publisher and the risk that the games may pose. As the medium of games gets ever more popular, eventually it will become ever more valid a way for sequels to TV shows and movies. I really hope you will join me in the comments down below to discuss your ideas, and hope that at least one or two of these do eventually get made. Some will only ever be in my mind. So without further ado, here is what I would make if I was a developer. Please note that the games that I've used here are representations of the way that I would hope the games to be, so expect the normal bunch. My number 10, Naughty Bear Remake. Before Dead by Daylight, Behaviour made another little game, Naughty Bear, where you play as the titular Naughty Bear. He has a bit of a chip on his shoulder, as the other bears don't invite him to their parties, nor to play their fun bear games. Naughty Bear has had enough, so he gears himself up and then let the fluff bath begin. With death animations and a damn fine stealth mechanic, Naughty Bear is a hidden gem from the PlayStation 3 era. And whilst Naughty Bear in Paradise was a thing, I think the time may be right for a full-on PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5 reboot. This had some pretty cool environmental kills, and you could even scare the bears into suicide. Kill variety, shutting down escape routes and destroying phones all get you points. With bigger maps, and the game could be a lot more elaborate. Just look at Dead by Daylight, you could incorporate some of the things from that game. I had hours of fun with this title and would love to see it updated. Number 9, The Overlook VR. Stephen King is the hot topic right now movie wise, and with Dr. Sleep looking forward, you know, as in the sequel to The Shining, I think a VR tour of the Overlook, both back then and the now, would just be so cool. It looks like the Overlook from The Shining, as in The Shining that Stephen King openly has admitted to hating. I think the Stanley Kubrick version was visually outstanding and the characters were creepy. The soundtrack was also something else. Now the hallways look dilapidated and the tour now would be so well timed. I think film companies should consider doing more of this. Let us explore the sets and see this as a way for film companies could make a little money. For a film like this, generate even more buzz. VR would be the perfect medium for this. Now if I could just get Universal to do the Horror Nights in VR, then I would be happy, and yes, I bloody well will pay for them. Moving on to number 8, Jet Set Willy. This is going back to the 8-bit days and maybe counting the Amiga and the Xbox One, But I don't just want a conversion. Oh no, I want a reimagining. This game had a story. After becoming filthy rich, plundering the mines in Manic Miner, Miner Willie has a massive house party. Maria, his housekeeper, is pissed off at Willie's recent behaviour, so she won't let him go to bed until he has cleaned his own mess away. So clearing away all the empties from around the mansion. With the weird and wonderful rooms and enemies, it was one hell of a game. Now imagine it in 3D with a full mansion for you to explore, maybe starting off drunk and slowly sobering up, realising you are sober and the nightmare is still happening. This to me was a classic, and I hope one day to see someone do something with this game. My number 7, Living Dead the game. Okay, so before we say it's just another zombie game, hear me out, you heathen. So how about we take the Dead Rising game engine and use it to bring the George A. Romero zombie world to life. It's about how many days you can survive. Using Night of the Living Dead as the training mission to learn the mechanics, you would have to collect food, materials and help survivors build defences from both zombies and unfriendly survivors. Make the settings, the house, Night of the Living Dead, the mall, Dawn of the Dead, the underground base, Day of the Dead, and the city, Land of the Dead. This will be a large undertaking, but could also be set over several games, well, over 3 games anyway. Considering the first Dead Rising borrowed a little, well, heavily, from Dawn of the Dead in fact, it would be good to see it go full circle, pay the movie back so to speak.
You may now kiss the bride.
Number 6, Mercenaries Reboot. I want EA to bring this series back, because it was, for all of its faults, a fun as hell game to play. The last game from Pandemic, Saboteur, was fantastic fun, killing Nazis and blowing shit up, including cows. To me, it was the open worlds they had created and the destruction and mayhem you caused throughout. The second Mercenaries game was a tale of revenge for your character being shot in the ass. To me, so many games owe a lot to this series, so let's bring it back, make it bigger, better, crazier. We need an open world game with destructibility to the levels of these games. These games look good and played better, so come on EA, either make yourself useful or sell it to someone who will make this game. I feel the world is finally ready for these games, and I need them for tough days and days I just want to blow shit up. My number 5, Twin Peaks Season 2. Okay, if we go back to interviews before the 3rd season, before it was even commissioned, David Lynch was openly discussing his disdain for Twin Peaks Season 2. His problem was the interference of ABC channel executives. One of his main issues was the Laura Palmer murder. Lynch never wanted it solved. Instead, we would come and go away from that story. That Twin Peaks would be about the town and its inhabitants. Characters would leave and return, but ABC wanted it solving during season 2 and then to go on to other things. They also wanted Cooper to have a love interest. Because of the age of the character Audrey, who had shown an interest in Cooper, they employed Heather Graham to play as Annie. David didn't make the whole of the 2nd season, only the beginning and the end. So David Lynch, like you will ever see my videos, how about you remake it here? Build Twin Peaks here virtually. Make that season how you originally wanted. Weave those stories. There are enough people who would love to see this. A cult classic and a chance for you to make it how it was always supposed to be. Come on, David. You know you want to.
Ask before I drive.
It worked. Don't mess with Max, bitches.
Nice.
Hey, Victoria.
What do you want, Max?
My number 4, Silent Hill. I did think about putting Forbidden Siren video here instead, but then I thought that this shows what could be done with Resident Evil 2, so what could be done with Silent Hill? Anyway, a long time ago there were some wayward employees that Konami shoved out the way and left them to their own devices. When they finally decided to check back in on them, Silent Hill was born. That was so long ago, and I think it's time for that lightning in a bottle to strike again. Let's build it from the ground up, kind of like Capcom did with Resident Evil. They can make it bigger and better, expand the game, and make what was put in the game because of limitations fog, and make the game look unbelievable with it. Honestly, this should have happened already, with many remasters having blown up this generation, and how popular the game series is, even after they took the game off of Team Silent, and I'm guessing firing the majority of them. Looking at the interest garnered by the PT playable trailer that showed itself to be Silent Hills, it starred Norman Reedus and was going to be made by Hideo Kojima and Guillermo del Toro, and yet all that they have made since is a goddamn pachinko machine. Damn you, Konami, sort it out.
God damn it! Watch out!
My number 3, Summer Holiday. Now this one is all me. Harvest Moon is representative of the graphical style and pace I see the game being, but the technology is there to make this one as crazy as you like. I reckon 32 players online. It's all the games you remember playing when you was a kid. You know, just behaving like a kid. Hide and seek, manhunt, cuppies, Wally, Kirby, Murder Ball. Basically all the kids' games that you got shouted at for playing out on the street. Chucking stuff like ball games, board games, pool and darts. Anything that you used to do in the summer holidays, do it from a kid's perspective. More games could be added as time went on. It would just be fun. Have varying rules, as I'm sure there may be different names and different rules depending upon location. I know there's been a few games released slightly like this in Japan. However, this will be more centric to a Western audience. My penultimate entry, Dread 2. Now I know I'm using the Mad Max game to represent Dread, but unfortunately nothing else I felt came close until Cyberpunk 2077 releases. Now what I want here is a sequel to the movie starring Carl Urban, and certainly not the travesty starring Sylvester Stallone. And since it doesn't look like the movie sequel nor the TV series is coming anytime soon, so how about we get a game instead? It could be an open world affair. You could play as Dredd and verse the Dark Judges. Dredd could patrol Mega City 1. With all the mythos from 2000 AD, there is so much that could be done. Great characters, vehicles and weapons. Carl Urban has spoken repeatedly about reprising his role as Dredd. The director has said it is a universe he wants to return to. Dredd the movie has fast become a cult classic with an audience, and if successful enough, there is enough mythos here to cover several sequels. And my number 1, Resident Evil, the Albert Wesker story. as a fan of Wesker, this had to be number 1. So the game starts off during Resident Evil 0 and before the original Resident Evil, then goes into Wesker's point of view for the first game through Code Veronica until his untimely death in Resident Evil 5, and his resurrection in Resident Evil 8, using some of the game engine from the new Resident Evil Project Resistance to send the experiment in for the attack, showing how we escaped the mansion and how we ultimately escaped Raccoon City. Considering how little Wesker was in the series, his popularity says how much he deserves his own game. And to do the whole first game as Wesker, avoiding Jill and Chris where possible, herding them through the doors so you can get through them. Above all else, this is a Resident Evil I think a lot of Resident Evil fans want, and one we have never ever seen before.
What is this place?
Not quite your ordinary house, that's for sure.
Hey, Wesker, where's Chris?
Jill, no! You don't want to go back out there.
But we've got to find...
What was that?
Chris?
And it's done. Hope you all enjoyed this top 10. There is plenty more content like this on my channel. Check it out, and if you would, spread the word. Enjoy your day, one and all. Old School Gamer 1971, signing off.